And good morning. I'd like to welcome everyone to our live coverage of the June WASDE. This is when we're going to get a little bit better look at what's actually going on with the new crop. We're not expecting any big changes, but the USDA in the past has made some adjustments, and we'll go over what consensus is and some other things that we have going on. But first, I'd like to remind everyone that the third Thursday marketing meeting is a week from Thursday. Make sure to join us as we'll be talking about weather and a host of other things. Also, Friday, the 28th of June, is the acreage report, and make sure to be on for that. That will be a big item, as there's a lot of concerns about exactly how much corn really did get planted. So let's take a look and talk about what we are expecting for today's crop. Looking at corn ending stocks, last time we came in at 2.102 billion bushels. We are looking for a little bit of a cut down to about 2087 or so, so a little bit of a shaving there. Most likely they may not touch anything with new crop. I'm of the opinion that they could actually shave yields a little bit, and my estimates are for a little bit less. Where we're finding the cuts is a little bit of an improvement in the old crop balance sheet, tightening up just a little bit due to exports. Corn yield at 181 is what people are expecting, but there is some deviation on this, and the USDA in the past has moved this number. In fact, if we go back to 2019, they moved it significantly due to the floods. Go back to 2012, they moved it, but they do tend to make a few changes here. Certainly in July, we'll see an adjustment, but there can be some changes here in June, and we have had some weather issues crop up. Exports, we're at 22. We'll see exactly what they changed with that. Moving on to soybeans, there's a fair amount of debate about what's going on with soybeans. Last time around, we were at 445. This time, we're at 456. So street estimates are that we're actually going to see soybean stocks go up. I'm a little bit different on this too. I think we do have the potential to see soybean stocks tighten up just a little bit, maybe a little bit of a surprise coming in the export corridor. Now, over the last week, we've seen 3 Chinese purchases totaling about 300,000 metric tons of soybeans. So China is coming back into the market a little bit. We're seeing them wake up, and this is due to the problems in Brazil. So maybe we can get a little bit of a bullish surprise coming out of that old balance sheet. Now, for soybean yields at 52, typically the USDA does not change their export numbers until we get into August. There's always the possibility, if we see some serious inclement weather happening, that they could change earlier, but most likely that's more of an August type item. And talking about the weather, we are seeing a change in the weather pattern. We had been in a La Nina. We are now in a neutral ENSO situation. We are moving towards La Nina, which is the weather pattern that we've had that caused all the disruption in Brazil, that caused the droughts here and things of that sort. We are seeing some changes in the weather that could be material for the U.S. crops, meaning we saw a lot of rain in May. In fact, here in Omaha, we picked up about 9 inches of rain in May, which is extremely unusual. It's far more than what we normally get. The good news is we needed the rain, and that knocked us out of a drought situation. The bad news, a lot of that rain came in 2 or 3 big downpours, so the benefits of it may not be quite as much. Now, today, we're going to see temperatures hitting about 95 degrees. And looking through the rest of June, the heat is on and the furnace is going, and temperatures are going to be warmer than average. And we're back to seeing sporadic chances for showers and not seeing this good, consistent rain. If we don't get that rain, this could end up being a little bit of a problem, because corn root development and things may not be up to par, and we could find ourselves in a much more volatile weather situation going forward if we don't see those timely rains. So that's something we need to pay attention to, because this would definitely have some impact on production. and maybe help drive prices a little bit higher if we do have some issues. Wheat for total ending stocks, we're at 779. That's up from 766. We are seeing some better ideas about wheat. Wheat has been very volatile. You know, we were knocking on the door of $7 in Chicago on Chicago wheat just a week and a half ago, and we took an entire dollar out after 9 straight days of declines. So we are seeing some degradation of the global situation, particularly in Russia. There are some definite clear problems there. But the situations in the US and in Australia, we are seeing some relief. Now, southwestern Kansas had been in a drought and they did pick up some rain. I really don't know how much or how effective that rain is going to be in changing their crop situation, but we did see some beneficial rains also east of I-35 in Kansas. So that is creating a little bit of volatility. And we've seen conditions basically hover right around that 48% good to excellent, which is still a pretty strong number. We haven't seen any big declines, and that has kind of come in here and weighed on prices. Moving on to cotton for ending stocks, we're looking at 3.9. That would be up from 3.7. So again, a bit of bearish news for cotton. If you follow the cotton market at all, you know, we had our big fund-driven run-up. Prices moved up very, very nicely. And then they decided they didn't want to own it anymore and wanted to be sellers, and they took the starch completely out of those shirts, as it were, as prices have dropped back near to life of contract lows for the July futures. So again, the cotton market needs a boost. We're not really seeing it in the export numbers. We're still struggling. Chinese imports of U.S. cotton have been pretty good, but everybody else has really been pretty soft, and we're not seeing any good consumer demand really build up and develop. We're about 5 minutes away from the WASDE here, so we'll take a look here at the ideas what we have for some world numbers here. For world soybean ending stocks, we're looking at guesses right around 127, down from 129. We did lose some Brazilian production. So that is one thing that is a little bit supportive, and that's something that could have worked to tighten the U.S. balance sheet a little bit. Looking at world corn ending stocks, 312 going down to about 311. Again, some loss of production in the Ukraine, a little bit of a loss of production also in Brazil coming in to weigh in on that. The big numbers, though, are right down here. Let's go ahead and share the screen here, and that way we can look and see what we have going on. And looking here for soybean production for Brazil. For old crop, we are sitting at about 120. Let's see, soybean production for old crop, we're at 151. This number right here is the number we need to be worried about. It's 169 million tons. That is for the crop that will be going into the ground in September. If this happens, this is going to be an issue for the market. However, we are moving into that La Nina, and it is expected to fully be taking hold probably by September or October. If that happens, that can create some adverse growing conditions in Brazil, and maybe this number won't be quite as big, and their weight on the market maybe not so much. So again, we'll take a look at this. We had some other news that came out today, and that was in the form of inflation numbers. We have a lot of reports today. Today is a busy day. We have the WASDE. We also had the CPI report this morning that came out, and it came out at 0.0, which is unchanged. That's down from 0.3 higher last month, and expectations of 0.1. So these numbers were very good, or at least an improvement. The year-over-year number at 3.3 is still not 2%, but it did go down 1/10, and the core numbers went down 1/10. And this did produce a sharp, noticeable drop in the dollar index. And that is something that when we see the dollar weaken a little bit, that's something that can create a little bit of a natural tailwind for commodities. And that's certainly something in the grain space we need. as things have been struggling for more than a little while now. Other items, we have seen a lot of volatility in the crude oil market. There were ideas just a week ago that we were going to see some production increases coming out of the OPEC Plus group. That has all disappeared, and we now have crude oil back at 77, almost $78 a barrel. All of the losses that we saw have been erased, and crude has returned back to those prices. So any benefits that we may be thinking about getting from that, those have certainly gone away. Stock market's quite stout this morning. The Dow's up only 127, a third of a percent. But the S&Ps are up about 62 points, or a gain of a little more than 1%, and that's off the CPI number. We're not done for the day, though, after the WASDE. We do have an FOMC meeting talking about interest rates this afternoon, and we'll see what Chair Powell has to say. It is entirely conceivable that he could say some very nice things, then we could see the S&Ps up double or triple digits. It's also entirely possible that he could sandbag this rally, so we will just see how things shake out. But interest rates have come down noticeably and meaningfully in the last little bit here. I'm going to go ahead and switch screens, and I'm going to go and take a quick look at prices here before the report. And coming in, we have corn up about 3 3/4. On old crop has been performing a little bit better than new crop. And again, I think that's the Brazilian situation, leading to some ideas that we may see a little bit better export. Soybeans down just a little bit. And again, on a relative basis, new crop only down 1 1/4 is outperforming the new crop. It's down about 4 cents. And wheat all over the map. Chicago down 9, Kansas City down about 16. So we are seeing plenty of struggles with that. And let's go ahead here and switch over to the report. And we're about 30 seconds away from the report. So this should be interesting if we can get some South American surprises or some global surprises. That would definitely work to move the markets a little bit more than what we may be expecting here. So we are just a couple of seconds away here. And corn ending stocks at 21.02, completely unchanged. Yield per acre at 181, completely unchanged. Moving on to soybean ending stocks at 455, right in line with expectations there, no big surprises with that. Soybean production, again, unchanged, so we didn't move anything on new crop. Wheat ending stocks at 758. That is actually a little bit smaller than expected. That is a little bit of a surprise. So we have a little bit of a bullish surprise for wheat ending stocks. Cotton ending stocks at 410, not the number we needed to see. That was noticeably higher than expectations, and that is certainly a shock that we're not looking for. Let's move on down to the global numbers here. Corn ending stocks at 311, right as expected. Soybean ending stocks at 128. Again, we were looking for 127.84, so Street got that right as well. Wheat ending stocks at 252, down from 254, but a little bit more than expected. Cotton ending stocks at 83, just a little bit tighter. And looking at Argentina and Brazil's production numbers, Argentina's soybean production for old crop at 50, unchanged. Looking at 51 at new crop, no big changes there. Brazil corn production 127, no changes there. For new crop, for old crop at 122, again, no changes. Soybeans, they did cut a little bit, so that's bullish for soybeans, from 154 down to 153, but leaving the new crop at 169. So looking at prices here. As you can see right now, corn still a little bit bullish on those supportive global numbers, but again, corn only up 2.5 to 1 to 2.5 cents, so not a big move there. So excuse me. Soybeans, old crop down 3 3/4, new crop down about 6. So again, not a lot of big surprises coming out of the soybeans market. Is breaking through. If you look at November here, we are breaking through some key support at 1150. So we need the bulls to step in here, or we could see this market break down a little bit more. In terms of the wheat market, July wheat in Chicago, 617.5. That's down 9 cents. So again, everything pretty much completely as expected, and no big market movers and no big surprises really coming out of the June WASDE. Looking at any of the things that we look at. Ashley, did we have any questions?
Nope, I do not see any questions.
Well, with the markets not moving and the report coming in nearly completely as expected on every level, if we don't have any questions, I think we can probably conclude today's broadcast right now. So I'd like to thank everyone for their time and attendance, and make sure to come to our third Thursday marketing meeting and the very important acreage report on June 30th.